to Songlight Podcast. In this episode, I am talking with one of my mentors, Mr. Mike Teller, aka Pops, and he drops some gems. I also give you an opportunity to invite you into one of our conversations of how him and I talk and how he just gives me a perspective. But he gives you a little bit of perspective. When I first began in my career as a respiratory therapy leader, and I am truly happy to share this conversation with you. I'm excited that you're here. Hope you're just as excited as I am as we begin this journey. Listen, this thing is going to get huge, and you have made a decision to view in its infancy. So thank you so much for your support, being a part of our Patreon, and thank you for believing in us.
Part of my life's journey is always about those who have gone before me and the giant shoulders that I have stood on. And I have a giant right next to me, Mr. Mike Teller, aka Pops. He is not just a mentor to me, but he is a father figure to me who has always saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. And as I pulled up today, I was talking to my son about how people see you and how you don't see yourself. And what you need to do is you need to take a moment and listen a little more carefully and observe people on how they see you, how they respond to you, and how they view you. There were so many situations that I got into where I didn't feel secure in who I was at the time. So I thought my relationship with that person was more about me and more about my view of myself. But what I realized is it wasn't really about my view of myself,
Right.
but it was about how the person saw me.
Exactly.
This is the example I have of that. I wanted to, in elementary, date a girl that I thought was very beautiful. But because I thought I wasn't enough, I thought her rejection of me was because I wasn't enough.
Okay.
But what I realized now that I'm older is her rejection of me was because I was more than enough. And just like I saw that she was out of my league in my eyes,
Right.
she also saw me being out of her league. And instead of taking ownership of her rejection of me,
Right.
I should have been more holistic in my thinking, and I should have really not took the blame. And a lot of people take blame for who they are as people. I think this is significant because as you give us knowledge today, as I represent a whole different generation,
Right.
what I want to do is give the knowledge you have always given me
Right.
and will give us today. And I want to pass it on to my children so they can pass it on to their children.
Gotcha.
So this is one of those podcasts where I'm going to ask him some questions. You're going to see how much wisdom he has and all of the success. Every risk I take today, every belief I have today was rooted and grounded in the words he spoke almost 15 to 16 years ago, almost 20 years ago, right? I met him in 2007. I was a young whippersnapper on night shift. I had high energy. I was ambitious.
Yes.
I was naively wanted a lot of different things in life. And he saw me, and I want you to tell them, Pops, what did you see in me? Because I am currently, with all the success that I have obtained, I went through the profession as a tech. I got multiple certifications. I got my master's degree. I am the leader of 2 departments. I'm the leader of men and women. But I couldn't do that if you didn't speak what you spoke over my life during that time when I was nothing. So let's start out by you telling everybody when you saw me, because I did this with my parents a long time ago.
Right.
I had certain characteristics, but what did you see in me that made you say what you said?
All right. You're like a bolt of lightning coming in the room, highly, highly overcompensated, not only to achieve goals for your patients, but also goals for your coworkers. You're so overcompensated, you would almost sometimes do their work. And my point to you was teach them, train them, don't do their work. Find a way to calm yourself down and realize your journey. Because if you take on too many personalities, complexities of people, entities, job difficulties, you will not be able to develop yourself properly. I think a lot of what I saw was some institutionalized stresses in you from the perception of people being in a hierarchical position over you, from your religion down to your peers. I think you assumed a lot of things that you thought, or they projected to you were true. I said, look, you're doing everything, but you're not serving yourself. You have the capacity to manage people. You have the capacity to be a supervisor. You said supervisor? I said, yeah, not only a supervisor, director. What are you talking about? I said, no, seriously. At that time, I was in a position on the evening shift night to have some influence on talking to my director. Just about putting you in a least temporary, but maybe a full time because you had other jobs, supervisor capacity. And you said, do you think I can? I said, no, I know you can do it.
Yeah.
Not only you can do it, you probably clone yourself if you could.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You can't be multiple people in different places. You got to find a way to, you're going to clone your workers. Management is having people do work good and competently for you. Not only that, with your care and your kindness. That's the difficulty, is to give them peace of mind and reverence and goodwill about themselves. How do we transfer into a person goodwill? How do we say, look, the patient is our client, but at the same time, he's a victim of his disease. You're a victim of seeing him in that compromised situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The difficulties of you not being restrained or either complicit in not getting him to do the right thing. That's the employee, the patient, the administration, everybody. We have to be able to step back, find a way to step back and get the work to do itself. That's the ultimate goal, is to get all of the work to function separately and collaboratively. You took the position and you took off flying.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were flying and you were saying, hey, I'm having a rough time, the marriage situation. It really bothered me a lot because it looked to me you were taking on responsibilities that shouldn't have been yours. Responsibilities of a hierarchical situation in your religion, your church, that they weren't going to ever give you an equal chance of being who you could be. And you were so hurt, so wounded, and I could feel it, I could see it. And I wanted you to know that, hey, you're okay. You've done nothing wrong. You're going to be more than you ever think you can be.
Yeah, that messed me up. It not only messed me up, but I didn't fully understand it at the time. But like 10 years later, I can sit back and say,
Yeah.
wow, like I get what you're saying, because
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I heard you say is, hey man, you got all of this energy and gift,
Yeah.
but the secret to it is learning how to manage you first.
Yes. Yes.
And then when you learn how to manage you,
Yes.
then you can help people manage them.
Yes. Yes.
And it's better use of your energy to learn how to carry your burdens correctly
Correctly.
and
Yeah.
teach others how to carry their burdens either
Yeah.
as well. And then you guys work together.
In a harmonious state.
Got it.
Yeah.
Why do you think, let me unpack this first before I ask that question.
Go ahead.
We spoke about religion because I think a lot of people, when we think about religion, all religions are not bad, but the
No.
institutionalized
They're
part
different.
of religion is
Yeah.
bad because
Yeah.
it gives you a boxed in sense of thinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're set to this structure that may not be really where Christ is,
Right.
and may not be where Christ can get the best use of you,
Right.
because a lot of them are man-made
And man driven.
Yeah. So you were trying to get me to shift from the institutionalization of
Right.
it,
Right.
because
Right.
you saw the spirit. You saw
Yes.
more of the spirit
In you.
of happiness,
Yeah.
joy, the spirit
Yeah.
of Christ in me.
But
So
you were shackled. You still
yeah,
were shackled. You were shackled.
I was in bondage
Yeah.
within a religion
Yeah.
versus being able to be set free from the religious institutionalization
Yes. Yes.
and tap more into the spirit of
The
really.
spirit of what was intended.
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it.
Because when you, as a person that's involved in religion, cannot just ask for God to bless you, to give you wisdom and give you happiness, without saying, "Oh, Brother John, or Pastor Joseph, or Peter," all these people you have to go through to get relief. You have to go through all these men and women just to feel you're worthy.
Your value. Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
So
It's
instead of looking for my value in Christ,
right.
I was looking for my value in people.
And people, you had to climb. You're climbing up this continuous mountain
Yeah. Yeah.
just to get to the light, and the light was in you. The
Yeah.
light was all over you,
Yeah.
but you still couldn't see.
Right.
To me, it created tears inside.
Yeah.
That
So I'm this bolt of energy. You see me,
wow.
you're like, man, if you can just channel this,
Yeah,
and
take it, control it.
if you
Yeah.
can just conduct it, add strategy,
Yes.
add wisdom,
Ah,
because knowledge is basically information and education.
learned.
But if you can learn how to apply this information and education
Right.
and then impart it to others,
Got it.
then that is the beginning of you getting to another level.
Oh.
So after I went through all of that, relational challenges
Yes.
and religious challenges,
Right. Right.
and I started to really grow spiritually
Yes.
by praying in the morning, reading my word,
Mm-hmm.
seeking God for myself, moving men out of the way,
Men and women out of the way.
and really understanding who I was as a person.
Mm-hmm.
That started a journey for me. It started
Yes.
a journey of the evolution of me. I always had a
I'm
way
a
to
witness.
serve.
I'm a witness.
Yeah.
Because you leapfrog
Yeah.
from evening supervisor to one of the most prestigious hospitals as another supervisor. I mean, one of the premier hospitals. You became a supervisor, and then that was enough. You jumped into another group and became the director of multiple hospitals.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, look at this guy.
Yeah.
God. And I think the man-made institutions, the grift, the graph, all the things came in on you, and you said, you know what? I got to be free.
Yeah. You know,
I was like, wow.
You know what really changed my life too, when you talk about the religious systems, every religious system that I went into,
Right.
I look for mentorship there. I
Yeah.
look for discipleship there. I look for value there.
Yeah.
And I was limiting the people that Christ was sending in my life
Okay.
to truly provide mentorship. You're not a pastor. You're
No.
not this. You're not
No.
that. But you provided more mentorship, more guidance, more Christ likeness than any of those people in the pulpit could have ever done. And you've always supported everything that I've done, whether it's been ministry, whether it's been writing a book, whether it's been helping others. Yeah. LLC, corporations,
Mm-hmm.
nonprofits. You've given me the game on all of that. You've taught me how to monetize things.
Mm-hmm.
You are all those things. A lot of people don't understand that
Yeah.
you are Arthur. You wrote multiple books.
Yeah.
You are artist.
Yeah.
The same things that I was embarking upon, you had already did, and you had already had the scars to show for it.
I just want to make sure that I don't die with it in my head.
Gotcha.
I want to spit it out, let it be known.
So what made you, what was in you to make you do what you did for me?
Okay. So I started off as a RDSer, respiratory stress syndrome baby, born in South Baltimore with incinerated dumps, national bohemian, gas in the air, suffering as a child. I mean, house ridden, couldn't get out. The environment was killing me. I stayed in the third grade 3 years because I didn't get to the school. The isolation, being locked in, molded and made me very inquisitive. I had aunties that would give me books and information, and I would learn to read. I had a teacher in the third grade that smoked. She was like, "Ugh," but she inspired me. She said, "You can do anything." So by the time I got to an age, the teens, I got better. And then I broke out of L7, the smoke and the garbage of that area. I came to DC and a deep breath. The pollution in Baltimore at that time was so much greater than in DC. So here I am, almost new. I'm talking about 20 years old, brand new. And I don't know really anything. And I'm asking questions and people are looking at me like, what? Why would you ask me that? Don't you know that? I don't. That's why I'm asking you that. Right? It blew me away that I couldn't get a straight answer.
Right.
I just was overwhelmed with talking to people, and like when I met white people, hey, how you doing? They were like, what? I got like, what? I looked at TV. I thought we were friends. So that coming out of nowhere, out of isolation, coming into the light of life, and then finding out how things were. I just said, my thirst was so great. And once I quenched my thirst and got inspired, I think the biggest thing that hit me, and I'll never forget it, I met, and I won't say his name, an author, a man of letters, and I said, sir, and I'm working extra job, a cab, and I said, sir, it's good to meet you. You know, I'm writing children's books. This is in 1972. And I don't know quite where to go to get copyright, you know, for my book. And he looked at me. He said, well, I guess you'll have to do it the way I did it. Find out yourself. I was like, oh my God. It just, like a gut punch. I was floored. Find out yourself. Okay. I did. Library of Congress. Here I come. Got my copyright. And I swear, in that time, I said, no one should have to beg anyone for information, especially a person of color. We're minorities. We live in a society that I finally found out want to take advantage of our genius, in my mind. Want to take advantage of our labor and not reward us, allow us the privilege to do the common mundane things, buy a house, do this. I'm never going to ever not relinquish information. I'm never going to hide, conceal, and not afford my people of color, of any color, not to know about anything. I took on the challenge of learning verbatim how to set up a corporation, how to go to the Library of Congress, what to do, what paperwork to file, how to go to SBA. What is SBA? It's in the Motor Vehicles Department. SBA, how to go in and get you a loan or get a endowment, how to, all the crevices. And as soon as I can find anybody It seems like they're worthy, and they're interested. I'm gonna fill them with the information. You were like my real first
Yeah. Yeah.
person that I could fill with information. You hung in there with me. I said, I'm gonna set up a company and I'm gonna do a little business, but I want you to work with me. You said, okay, Pops. You were there.
Yeah.
You worked as hard as I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did CPR with me.
Yeah.
You did
Whatever I
we
needed to
did
do.
trade care. We worked, we made some money, but like I said, what we did was we learned our self-worth. It was so exciting.
Yeah.
It's always been so exciting.
Yeah.
And then when you injured yourself, I think that, your Achilles heel, that was the turning point for you with your big business, and was a turning point for me because I didn't want you to go down, fall in that psychological depression that
Yeah.
I saw you in the beginning. And I made a point to be there every weekend, every time I could, to make sure that you just kept moving.
Yeah. Kept my spirits up.
You got your scooter.
Yeah.
You didn't look back. I was like, oh my God, look at this. This is exciting. I got all girl children, but you were my first son.
Yeah.
And it was very exciting.
So, Pops, really quick, I want to gather this for the people. No. This is some fruitful stuff, because basically what you said is, Aaron, when I saw me and you, I knew I had to make sure you knew your value.
Yes.
So number one, know your value.
Yes.
When I understood my value, now as I go and meet other people, I can help other people understand their value too.
Exactly.
So if all of us are working within our value together,
yes,
we're like a well-oiled machine.
It's really true. But you must realize you're going to run across some evil.
Right. Right.
And you got to be able to recognize that.
Right.
And when you bump into it, don't be dissuaded. Do what you can to help them, but don't overexert yourself.
Gotcha.
So really
once you know your value, then you can use wisdom.
Yes.
And then so you know your value. Value is assessed through information and education.
True.
But to truly transition that value to others is wisdom. You got to understand how to apply it. And when you meet opposition, you got to figure out how to navigate the opposition.
Get around.
That opposition will work for your good.
Always.
It will teach you lessons. It will be blessings within that lesson.
Even the obstructions and the naysayers that you run into, they eventually will not speak bad of you.
Yeah. And then you have to find people. You can't. Using wisdom lets you know that you can't give everything you have to everyone, because there were so many people that came before me.
They're so
that
angry,
were not ready to receive what you had to give
They're
them.
so angry that you were even in the place that you're in.
Got it.
They're saying, well, how can he, lack of education or more education, or why is he, when I met you, you're a guy that got a scholarship for basketball to a college, and I'm saying, damn.
Yeah.
And you were saying, yeah, but no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
You just like balling. I'm going like, damn.
Yeah.
You don't really hear what you just said, right?
Yeah.
And that was like part of your, no. It's a big thing.
Right.
It's a great thing.
Right.
Not that is, it is great that you have the ability to excel.
Right.
Out of yourself.
Right.
Into the stratosphere.
Like, recognize that accomplishment.
Yes.
Like, don't downplay that.
If there's a rose that grew out of the ground and you had something to do with it, say, Lord, look at that. Let me take a picture of it. Be sure that you do realize that God is in you and working.
And that's so amazing, because you allowed me to know my value. You allowed me to learn to identify and teach others how to understand their value.
Yeah.
Being able to assess that everybody can't receive what you have to give.
There you go.
So don't give to everybody.
Give as much as you can. Let's put it that way. Because
be willing to give, but
because sometimes they do need some information, but they sometimes don't respect it because they have a preconceived idea about how they should take things in or who they are.
So let's deal with this really quick.
Okay.
In our limited time.
Okay.
Let's deal with like jealousy.
Oh God.
Covetousness. Relationship integrity. Let's deal with jealousy first. Why is there so much jealousy amongst our people, amongst people trying to?
I'm glad you said that.
Us work together. What's your perspective on that?
All right, it goes back to Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch said, we're losing control of our slaves. What can we do to keep our psychological, since we can't have a physical control? How do we control them? How do we keep them in doubt? How do we keep them on their back foot? And they said, we'll mix the races with them. We'll make them lighter and darker, and we will give them psychological deficiencies. And the ones that we want to excel, we'll put in higher places. We'll use the chess game. I'm the king and you're the pawn. We'll use all of the graphics of how to control a mindset. How do we get the masses to do a big job without rewarding them? They said Maslow's hierarchy of need, shelter, food, blah, blah. How do we put them in that category and give them satisfaction so they're not concerned about getting up to the top?
How to keep them comfortable.
How to keep them comfortable, if not comfortable, at least psychologically stressed down. Now, when you get into talking about people, and then all of a sudden you're excelling, and you're shorter than me, you are darker than me, all this stuff is in this conversation, believe it or not. When you sit with your white counterpart, and they say, Aaron, well, why is that true? And you say, because I know it's true. But why are you arguing with me about that? I just think you're lying. And you go, what? That's strategy. He pushed you into saying, I'm so mad that you are treating me this way. Right?
Yeah.
That's strategy.
Yeah.
How do you shut down a whole meeting of a whole environment, 2 hospitals, and we neutralize because I'm so afraid of him? Always got to realize who's in the room, who are the people you're talking to, how far will they go to keep this thing off kilter? What will they do to knock it off kilter?
Yeah.
Calm. If you're the only black person in the room, why are you screaming? That don't work. You got to be the calmest one in the room. You have to have the most level plan, and you got to let it be tweaked, rocks thrown at it, so you can come up with the final solution calmly, collectively, scientifically, math done. How do you get a raise in an unraisable situation? I became, through all of my movement, an assistant director at Children's Hospital for Respiratory Care. I got the paperwork that says that I did that. But when I asked for a raise for my night shift, new supervisor, they said, okay, that's good. So how you gonna get the money? I was like, what? You can't come in here and ask us for money. You got to come in here and show us how we can make money that we can share with you to get that. So, using what I'm saying to you, dealing with administration, dealing with the difficulties and jealousies, you coming up with something I can't. It doesn't really make a difference if they're black, white, or green.
Right.
It's all the same concept.
Right.
And then you say, oh, what can we do? What can we do? Guess what we did? We said, we will take care of all the suctioning in the hospital. We'll set it up. We'll administrate it. We will also put it in a charge master for us doing these procedures. Now, that's when I started getting into CPD coding, learning charge master, and we will be rewarded. That will give us this much revenue, and we can share it.
That's good.
I got Rodney Cunningham as a night supervisor. I got Bill Wright. I had Bill Wright for day shift. I had Rodney Cunningham as night supervisor, and got raises for everybody. It was like da. But that's the point. When you want to fight, don't think, perceive. When someone is calling you out, why are they doing that? They really think. Why are they trying to make you get aggressive? Why should you be aggressive? Why are we always sensitive about who we are? That's the first thing. I think jealousy in any court, in any place that you're in, why are you being needle. Why are you being pushed to be angry? And the average time you find out that when something's coming at you like that is about they don't think you should have it. They think they should have it. I don't want to see him in that position. I don't trust him. All those comments. I'm older. I'm white. I'm black. I'm this. I don't understand his leadership.
Mhm.
Blah 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 blah
Mhm.
blah blah.
Mhm.
And all you're going to say logically is, I'm here to bring up the education level of everybody, so that we all can have one thought about the care that we're giving.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to educate everybody about the charge master system, so that we can be on the same page about initial setups, additional setups, changing the frequency Q2, Q4, making sure that we justify for each system that we set up. We have to be accountable. In Q2, you gave a treatment. The next Q2, you didn't. Did you put in the justification for not?
Mhm.
You must always be analytical and thought driven
Yeah.
about everything you do. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. I think that's what jealousy comes out of a lot of times.
Gotcha.
Someone wants to do what you're doing, or either they don't want you to have it because they don't like you or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's always motivated for something else.
Yeah, and that's amazing because instead of building bridges and working together,
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the biggest things that was a blind spot for me.
I got it.
Not understanding that jealousy exists because of the integrity of the heart posture that you taught me of how to treat people,
Right,
how to be
right.
kind, how to care for people.
Not to keep your shield up too. Yeah.
Because you can't hedge when you jump into something.
Right.
You got to learn on the fly. And I think that has been the biggest lesson for me, understanding the jealousy part and coveting part, because you taught me in learning my value is you don't have to want anything that somebody else has.
No.
You have enough on your own.
You develop it.
And
grow it.
You can get more and you'll have more peace.
Yeah, because you achieved it.
Because what they got is probably what you don't want anyway.
You don't want it. Right.
You don't want to have to give up what they give up to get
what they got. Right.
So I appreciate that part and your perspective on jealousy and the historical perspective on that, because it's all about people trying to manipulate your emotions and get you to act outside yourself.
Majority of the times. And sometimes it's just like I said, they have a mindset that's from their race. In our race, it's the same thing. That's what Willie Lynch.
Yeah.
It's in our race, the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just difficult to realize, well, why are we so hard on each other? Because it's easier to be hard on each other with the law, LAW. It's easier to say, yeah, I deserve it and he doesn't. There's a lot of rationale for a person to envy you, to be jealous of you, but to have the mindset that they should take something from you, that's something that's learned too.
Yeah, I think what freed me too is, oh man, it's coming to me now in this conversation. And we have these conversations all the time where it's a new perspective that is gained. But Aaron, when you look at the law in an institution,
Right.
in a religion, it
Right.
comes with laws, but man gets you to manipulate you based off the law.
Right.
But what freed me is when I tapped into the lawgiver.
Right.
And the law creator.
Yes.
When I tapped into him,
right,
he gave me the ability to obtain good standing with him,
right,
so that he may allow me to obtain the standard. What men do in religion is they make you try to meet these unrealistic standards.
Cow down.
Which devalues you.
Oh, you got to understand something about you as a human.
Yeah, yeah.
When you cow down to someone, you are completely saying, I'm subservient to you.
You're giving them your power.
All of your power.
You're saying, look, you got all this power in you.
Yeah.
You need to use it judiciously.
Yes.
You need to make sure that you're able to.
You can be reverent.
Yeah.
I don't mind being reverent.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna give you all of everything. I can't.
Yeah. And there's a strategy behind that too.
Oh, I got it.
So you wanted me to be disciplined, become more strategic, by understanding my value, become free,
Right.
operate with a free mindset,
A
and
free
then
man.
develop a success system
Right.
to operate by. So now I'm older, 15,
Gotcha.
18 years
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
What do you see now in me as far as this next phase? Now that you're
Okay.
retired,
You okay?
now that
You've done a lot of
I'm
things.
living the fulfillment of your words. I'm living in the manifestation of your words. So you're
Okay.
watching your
Right.
words
Right. Right.
like
Right.
before you in my life.
Right.
And one thing I value the most about you, and I want to give you your flowers,
Okay.
successful marriage. Shirt says 50 years of marriage, right? Successful marriage, amazing father,
Thank you.
beautiful relationships with your daughters,
Yes.
successful career.
Thank you.
You have attained a lot in your career. You're at the point now where you're at peace.
Mm.
You have a level of peace in your life. And that's what matters the most to me. Having a successful marriage. I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary
Gotcha.
next December.
Gotcha.
I have great relationships with my kids.
That's
I became a
beautiful.
father at the age of 20.
Yeah.
My career is going well.
Right.
For me, it's about empowering,
Mm-hmm.
taking the energy that you showed me, taking my light, and becoming a
Mentor?
conductor for people.
Yeah.
Right, the power strip for people.
Mm-hmm.
Being connected to the greatest power strip, which is Christ,
Right.
and then allowing certain amount of sockets for people to tap into
Alignment. Yeah.
to a part. Yep, and then just being healthy, man. Just
Oof.
being healthy mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially.
Yes. Yes.
So I want to thank you for being that to me. It ain't always been easy for you, I know, but
It was meant to be.
but going forward, back to my original question,
All right.
what will be the next phase of advice that you will have for me as you're retired now,
Mm-hmm.
as you see me in this next phase in the manifestation of your words?
Okay. Okay. What you know, what you've learned, is healthcare. What you develop from that knowledge, I sincerely think education. You remember when I was teaching the suctioning in the nursing homes and different things? Modules of information, education, recertifications in institutions. You're in a position that you can start to think about what can you do to facilitate healthcare in general. What would SBA be willing to give you? What would the government be willing to give you, federal as well as state, to educate, recertify? Man development therapists is ongoing, but the pitfalls of what is happening in hospitals is that Medicare, Medicaid, the different insurance institutions has changed the format of hospitals. The revenue caps what comes into institution, how much you can do to work to earn a living in its confines is becoming more limited as we speak. So my thoughts are you really should look into the next level of what government is saying they need for an institution, nursing homes, all the ones that are changing, like Providence changed from being an institution as a hospital into a urgent care, into all these different things that they change.
Yeah.
But there's always certification, there's always education that has to be ongoing in all of these institutions.
Yeah.
Now, Mark Handy, you remember the nurse,
Mm-hmm.
Mark Handy?
Mm-hmm.
He, I said to you before, he has. They just actually retired him
Mm.
because they closed. But this guy has the capacity to do anything to do with heart, ACLS, any kind of arrhythmias, anything. He can recertify anybody, all kinds of people. That's what I was saying. I talked to him on a constant basis. His brother died, and talking to him, talking to modules. I talked to Verna, education modules. How do we, they did all these things to try to self-generate, money, sleep apnea, did all this stuff. All this stuff closed down. All this stuff is going away. But certification, cardiac rehabs, CCUs, CCU nurses, ER nurses. What level? What is needed? What is the state asking the institutions to do? How can you tap into being a certifier? How can you take your LLC and get, if it's CPR? CPR is becoming so large now.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Mm-hmm.
you remember what is her name? Bridget.
Mm-hmm.
Bridget still has her CPR, her institution going. You tap into these different people and you create an institution to do ACLS, do education modules, suctioning, bring everything in it, and set up as many people, and you pay them per the education that they do. But you search out and find out from these institutions what they need. Because remember how we used to go in and do CPR, how we used to go in?
Yeah.
It is huge, the money in this, because they have to
Yeah.
recertify it. I still got people calling me even to the day about CPR.
To get certified, yeah.
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 I just think it's another way to go. But like I said, I don't know what you have in your mind.
Yeah.
Is it writing, or is it, you sought to do the religious,
Yeah. I've been doing some things with ministry and motivation.
Okay.
And I've created a nonprofit called Whole Ministries, which is willing, humbly, obediently loving Christ eternally. But it's just about, for me, it's about the betterment of people.
Amen.
It's about being light and imparting light to others, so that they may understand their light and impart it to others. So it's just a continual transfer of all the energy I had when I first met you. But I'm open from a
let's look at nonprofit.
Because I think, though, I've been gifted with the ability to help people, and what you've taught me is I can't just limit that to one thing.
No. That's what I'm trying to say. The multiplicity of it all. Foundations. If you talk about, a foundation that is in itself, a giving source. What source do you pick to donate your time and your money to?
Yeah, we just talked about that in the car.
Yeah. What if you had a nonprofit like Dale to be included?
Yeah.
All the different factions of feeding, clothing, housing. How would the government be involved with helping you? The real true laws that exist around that. Research right now on all the possibilities, because your ministry goes hand in hand with all that we're talking about, and that could be an arm of it. Minister people. There's a big, unfortunate drug epidemic going on. There are a lot of people that need counseling. There are a lot of things going on. So
it's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do, but you have a lot of people that can do it.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to just bring you guys in. Just want to spend some time with you. I wanted to introduce all of my people to the man behind helping me get where I am, because we all stand on the shoulder of giants. But I just want to thank you, man.
My
I want to say
pleasure.
I appreciate you, man. I love you to life.
Love you to death.
And just thank you for helping me be all that I was created to be. Thank you for pouring into me, believing in me. I was like a blank canvas when you met me, and you were just writing. You were just writing what you believed that I could be, and then when I read it, I just executed it. I just started to just strategize. I didn't believe it at first, but I started to say, okay, he said do this, so let me just follow it. He said do this, let me just follow it. He said be this, let me just follow it. And I started to believe what you wrote.
I wrote into you what I wanted someone to write into me.
That's crazy.
No, I told you. I came out blank. Blank as blankety blank.
Yeah.
But I have to mention, I've had some mentors along the way too.
Yeah.
Harvey Davidson, corpsman at the Navy Medical, who was instrumental in training me in respiratory care, education level at the level of comprehension. He got me a job at Suburban to do orientation for nurses. And it just one thing after the next. It moved so quickly.
Yeah.
I was at Children's being mentored by Raymond Meck,
Mhm.
one of our respiratory therapists, pioneers. And he taught us biomed.
Yeah.
We were working with the diodes and the electrical plates inside of the ventilators.
Yeah.
Measuring super syringe, measuring syringe measurements. So I've always been inspired at the same time.
Yeah.
I've had people to impact on
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And that's more why I'm really like that.
Mhm.
Wanting to pass on
Mhm.
information because they did it for me.
Yeah.
Said, hey, look, I want you to know as much as you can know.
Yeah.
Mick, picked my broken down car, new car, blew a head gasket, towed it out to his house. We stayed 2 days in there, replaning and putting the head gasket on and putting a new motor on my car. And then after finished, he said, go home and come back to work the next day. Wow. You can't
beat that.
You can't.
Yeah.
There's no charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
No charge. Just
Yeah.
do the best you can.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget those things. And I hope to.
Yeah.
And that's why I hope to pass on as much as I could and can.
And I think what I want to leave everybody with is that you could be a blank canvas. And if you
Fortunate enough.
are able to have people in your life that are willing to speak life over you, and not only speak life over you, but write the instructions for you to follow. I think that's sort of what Christ did for us. He
Yes.
spoke us into existence. He spoke life to us.
Gave
And
us
then
the
he
directions.
wrote the story and the plan for us to follow.
True.
So I don't know who will view this or what you could be going through, but I think it is important to walk in humility.
Yes.
It is important to be open to those who came before you, because there's always somebody that Christ has tucked away where you may start a job, where you may be at a place where you need guidance, you need help. And when you walk in humility and when you're open, um, I guess the best way to say it, when the student is ready, the master will appear. And that's the best way to say it. I forget who said that,
but you got to think of it, because like I said, it sometimes it's just like you look up and there's light.
Yeah.
There's light.
Yeah. But you can be everything that you were created to be. Just know your value.
Yes.
Don't shy away from that. Embrace it.
Yeah.
Because you can do phenomenal things with your life. Not just for this generation, but for generations to come.
That's right.
So I appreciate you, Pops. Thank you for allowing me to
my pleasure.
Help the generations in the future achieve the success that they were created to achieve.
We pray, and we hope for the best for all of mankind.
Yeah.
Especially of our kind.
Yeah, I'll let that be our final words. Thank you guys for watching.